Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to go over how to create a loop script in Google Sheets. And basically what I'm going to do is I've got stock price here for Alphabet stock going back to 2020. And let's say I want to do something like, let's say just pull in the maximum value, the highest the stock ever got during that stretch, right? So I'm going to call this, I'll call it the maximum value. And what I want to do is I want to cycle through multiple tickers. So let's say Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, let's just do 4 tickers there. And I'm going to do a count function just to make it easier later on when I reference this. So there's 4 stocks that I want to cycle through, right? So the idea being, what I'm going to do is go through each one of these tickers, get that maximum value and paste it into here. So rather than having, let's say, 4 separate Google Sheets or Google Finance functions and doing a maxima formula multiple times, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have this one Google Finance function here and then just loop through this value here, because my formula is referencing, it's referencing that value right there. So basically it's going to replace that value with Microsoft and Amazon and Apple and then populate those maximums in there. So I'm going to show you how we can do this through Google Script or App Script. So I'm going to go to Extensions, App Script, and I'm going to start with creating some code in here. Okay, so we can just leave it in the my function, the default my function that's here. And the first thing I'm going to do is assign a sheet variable. So I'm going to say var sheet equals spreadsheet app dot get active sheet. Let's do that. So that's going to be my active sheet because I'm going to run that just on that sheet. So you could get the sheet by name or some other way, but I'm going to just say I'm going to use that macro on the active sheet. What I'm also going to do is get the last row of my range. And this is why I set up this variable here as just a simple count a function, because this is a lot easier than trying to set it up in here. I just thought that's a quick and easy way to do it. So I'm going to say var last row, and I guess I should actually set this up for a named range. Let's call this ticker count. And so I'm going to say var last row is equal to sheet dot get range. And I can specify my named range here, ticker count, and then get value. Open and close. So now I've got my list. So I can add to that if I need to. If I want to go through more stocks, I can do that easy enough. And now I'm going to create my for loop. Okay, so for, I'm going to set I equal to 1, starting from position 1. Then as long as I is less than or equal to the last row, it's going to keep on going. I should use a semicolon there. Last row, and then it's going to increment by 1. So that's a simple loop setup in Google Sheets and App Script. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with assigning that value in cell B1. So I'm going to change this value. So I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to type sheet.getRange and I'll type in B1. I could do a name range, but I'm just going to keep it as a normal reference like this. And I'm going to say set the value equal to, in this case, it's going to be sheet.getRange. Now, in this case, this is what I'm setting it to. So I want to set this value to here. Now, right now, it's going to be the same thing. It's not going to matter. But basically, I want to start from this list. So G1, right? So I'm going to set range G and then plus I. Because remember, starting from 1, it's going to go all the way to the last row, which is 4. So it's going to be start G1, then G2, then G3, and then G4. So close that out and say get that value. And then close that out. So right now what it's going to do is it's going to assign that value in B1, loop through all these and change that value. So that's going to already do a loop for me, but I still wanted to do something with that, because remember, I've got that maximum value here. I want to paste that over here. So that's going to be my next step. So the copy the values over. So let's say, put in some notes here. So let's say change ticker, and this will be copy maximum value. And what I'm going to do for this one, it is assign a variable called result, and that's going to be equal to the sheet dot get range. And for this one, I'll assign a named range result, just to mix it up a bit so you can see how to do it both ways. So get range equal to result dot get value. So in this step, it's going to get that maximum value, store it in a variable. And now what I'm going to do is for the sheet get range, and now this is where I'm going to put that value into. So if my stocks are in column G, then I want to put the maximum values in column H. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to set it to H plus I, again, because it's important the I is the same, so that way it's the same corresponding row, and then dot set value, and then I'm going to set it to that result. Okay, so a quick recap here. So what it's doing, we're assigning the spreadsheet to the active sheet. The last row is going to be equal to this ticker count variable. So there's four in there. And then we're going to go through a loop. We're going to start with changing the ticker. So we'll go look at cell B1 and change this to the values in column G. And then it's going to copy this maximum value, which I've got a named range for of result, and then paste that into column H over here. So now I'm going to save this, and now what I can do is run this, and if all goes smoothly, it's going to populate my results. So you can see execution started, executed completed. Go back in here, and now I see my values, my maximums that I've posted in here. So apples was a maximum 182, so we can see that was copied into here. So it worked well enough. Now let's say I want to add another ticker to this list. Let's say Tesla. So now we can see my ticker count updated to 5. Go back in here, hit the run button again. It's going to go run through. Now go back into here, 409.97. So it's updated with Tesla's maximum value as well. Now, one thing I'm going to do to make this a bit easier to run is I'm going to add a button, because it's not optimal to go back here and hit this run button and wait for it to populate it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to insert image or drawing actually, and in here I've got an option to select some shapes. So text box, no, shapes. So let's say just a simple circle, oval, and then let's say run macro. Save and close. There we go. And so now I've got a button just like how you would create one in Excel, and select these 3 dots and assign script. You just type in the name of my function, which is called just my function. So we just need to reference that name in here, hit OK, and now I'll hit this run macro button, and now what it's going to do, now it's running this script. So you can see it's updating, it's cycling through that list and populating all those stocks in there. So just like that, it's gone through that. And if you want to move this down, just right click, drag this over, and you could add more stocks if you wanted to do this for. So another stock might be, let's say, Meta. On the macro, again, updates the count, goes through each one of these, gets that maximum value and pastes it in every time. So obviously you could do this for other metrics as well, whether it's a maximum, minimum. If you have other calculations, you could build a template to loop through this and do all that for you. So it's copy and pasting, and this avoids you having to copy and paste this several times and have multiple formulas set up. So with using AppScript, you can make this process a whole lot more efficient and easy to cycle through and loop through your data. So hope you found this useful. I'll leave a link to a blog post going over this as well, so you can follow along there as well, and I'll include the full script in there. So thank you very much for watching, and hope you found this useful.